The watch industry is highly underdeveloped. The watch, as an innovation, is one of our most important innovations. It started with sand, water, and sun. In the 11th century, the mechanical watch came along. 500 years later, we got the mobile watch. Sailors could navigate over seas and know exactly their position, ending up in New York instead of West Indies. In the beginning of 20th centuries, wristwatches came along. It became popular during the First World War, but actually started as a female accessory when male wore pocket watches. 1970, the quartz technology made the watch a mass market product. During the past 30-40 years, many things have exploded. Industries such as internet, mobile phones, and computers. Not very much has happened in the watch industry. However, I think things are changing. Today, there are still two categories within watches. You have the traditional ones, showing the time and the date. The other category is multifunctional watches. They're often covered with buttons and functions that you don't very often use. What if there could be watches that were beautiful, easy to use, and multifunctional? 2007, I realized that it was impossible to wake up silently without disturbing the partner in the room. You know, when you're not sure if you want to go up, so you keep on snoozing, and the other one is really annoyed. Wouldn't it be wonderful to wake up silently and hear the birds twitter? The solution to this problem was a vibrating wristband. The idea got stuck with me, and 1 year later, I decided to start the development with a bunch of other engineers and business students. We were all the iPhone generation, but we realized that if we have situations where you can't use your iPhone, there must be need, right? Even if you don't often wear watches today. So I can remember the first time me and co-founder Oscar, number 2, met Johan. We were sitting like this, and Johan told us that his interest was to build alarm watches since 10 years back. He started to unbox IKEA lunchboxes, you know, the one with the red lid, and picked out from plastic bags blinking prototypes and realized that it was true. He told us about his favorite alarm watch, which is his bed. It doesn't stop ringing until he leaves the bed. You could actually YouTube weight monitoring alarm clock. Last time I checked, it had 45 views. And you can see on the movie that, yeah, he's wonderful with building stuff. So, you can change. This is our first sketch. We were inspired by the combination padlock. We wanted it to be retro and intuitive. We added a capacitive touchscreen because we wanted it to be simple to use. We also added the time because with the time you could actually set the alarm. We later on also added the timer. We were constantly involving our friends and family, checking what they thought about it, asking them questions, and listening. And then this inclusive process kept on with us. We managed to find designers just as passionate as we. It's us. And I can remember they draw sketches. They explain that we have to create an iconic product. I can remember they draw the classical watch, the iPod. That was not the first MP3 player, but it was iconic. And Mutewatch. It turned out to be this. This was the first rendering. The screen was tilted because the time should be shown to you. It's your time. Based on this picture, we started to take letters of credit. That's not orders. It's orders showing the demand, but it's not binding. I call it the devil's triangle when you develop something new. You need capital to finish the product. But to get capital, you need orders. And to get orders, you need the product. So our solution to this was to take the picture, show it to customers, and make them prove the demand. Here's one of the very first prototypes. Or very first, I think it's number 5. The first one was this big. The second one was made of glue we bought from the grocery store. But this gave us a lot of courage, and we decided to unveil the concept. The first one to write about the concept was Engadget. It's a tech blog, technology blog in the US. Within 24 hours, we had Gizmodo, CNET, and various sorts of new online news magazines. We realized that the demand was global, and based on the hype, we could get real pre-orders in. We managed to get a bank loan on those pre-orders and a new issue of shares on this, which enabled us to put it on in production. I think it's wonderful with the prizes that we received, the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, the Red Dot Design Award. It's wonderful, but it's not important. The production is like a heart in the product development company. The day when the head of engineer called me and said that the flow of products were up to 90%, that's a bigger day for me. This is what your whole company is standing on. I wish I could tell you a story where everything was so easy. It's not been. It's like, it's taking care of problems all the time. I can remember 1 month before we were launching the product. And imagine you've been running a marathon, almost 3 years, and you think you're almost there. And you have a meeting with the engineers, and you realize that the yield, the flow of products is only 10%. We won't be able to launch. You've promised the customers that paid, thanks to Apple, they actually had some confidence actually paying for something that didn't exist. Thank you. We had all these distributors, the stores, the customers that were waiting and so excited. Getting this news, it was so hard for us because we take pride in deliver quality. We decided to give the exclusivity to one store, the first store, Colette in Paris. And to call the other ones, we actually called many customers and explained to them that this is what we're doing. One of the reasons why it was so complicated is that we didn't only do a new category or a new product with unexperienced people because we were young. We made it with a new technology. Double injection over molding is a process that is about a pressure of 8.2 tons. You don't do that on technology, it melts. If you check the product, it's a bit bigger than we originally thought. We put the electronics inside a little metal box so we could protect the electronics from the heat. Selling something for 200 pounds, it has to be perfect. So having like a little overmolding issue here, you can't ship that away. So even if 90% of what we produced was pretty good, it wasn't perfect, not sellable. So meanwhile, we gave the exclusivity for the couple of months to Colette. We were redoing. And to summarize, it started as a vibrating wristband. And this is how we define it today. It's a touchscreen watch with a silent vibrating alarm and timer function. Almost got us as long as developing the product to find this sentence. So we managed to launch July 2011. And this is some of the feedback from the customers. TechPaul, that's his Twitter name actually, because we had so much interaction. One good thing with opening up and releasing the renderings, the pictures, was that it was not only our friends suddenly that gave us feedback. We had feedback from a global arena. And it was so much easier to convince these investors. They're quite conservative many times. They come from a different world, and we were young and passionate about doing something new that didn't exist. But using internet, use your local network and use internet to prove demand, but also to get feedback. And some of them we know by name, like TechPaul, because he was twittering so much in periods. When he finally got his product, he waited over 1 year, and he was so excited. If you read the quote, it's waited over 1 year, and it's finally here. Mutewatch, you are insane. And it gets here 1 hour before New York. Love this product. Another one is Steven. He shares with us how he uses the Mutewatch when he's traveling. He just went with a boat, and he knew when to get back on the boat. He washed his clothes, and he knew when 40 minutes has passed, so he could take out the clothes. And these things, it warms our souls, because starting this journey young and naive, which is great, you never know how much you have to go through. And this makes it all worth it. This is another one. Deaf Jenna rises and explains that when she was 14, she suddenly became deaf. Now she has to sleep with a big equipment, but with Mutewatch, she can suddenly wake up without this annoying equipment that she also thinks is quite ugly. She thinks Mutewatch is beautiful. And last but not least, we have Steve, who's fascinated about the combination of materials, which it also suits our souls, because yeah, all these struggles with the production that we had, it confirms that, because he knows what he's talking about. He built the personal computer. And this is the quote about Steve. It's a masterpiece of combining materials I've never seen before. Very creative, very unique. And yeah, we're so happy to be here. We've taken the first baby steps in the journey, but the question remains, how can we change an industry? Thank you very much.